after the movie's done, looking over at you, going like, "Is it weird that I don't dislike this movie?"
Yeah, I
I
felt like
I
we
feel
should have,
like
right?
I'm a curmudgeon. I should not like
It's
this.
like, why are we like it's so close to Christmas? You feel like we bring out that Ebenezer Scrooge, and we didn't. Da, 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 da. Da, 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 da.
Welcome everyone to Tutor Ramble. This is episode 42, the answer to all your podcast questions and
Needs,
life, the universe,
desires,
and everything.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, if you hear me have, by the way, Richard, Austin here, Richard there.
Yeah, we do need to remember to do our
Gotta do
names.
that. Now, it sounds like I have a raspy voice, like I'm about to smell smelly cats. You guys, you watch Friends? Have you ever seen Friends, Richard?
No, I have not seen Friends.
They get it. They understand the joke. So I have a little raspy voice, a little sore throat at the moment. So you could see, got a nice glass of whiskey to get rid of that. Richard's drinking.
I'm not sick, but I make limoncello, so.
So that's gonna clear my voice right up, and then we'll be good for this episode because it's an exciting one.
Oh yeah.
Hey, Austin here, editing. Sorry, we forgot to mention this whole segment here is spoiler free. We will let you know when we were talking about spoilers for The Way of Water. Rest assured, this is spoiler free. All right, enjoy. We just watched Avatar 2, Avatar: The Way of Water, the sequel that's been long coming, 13 years now.
It's been 13 years. Like, I saw the first one in theaters when I was much younger.
Yeah, I think it came out in 2009. We were young. Very young. I couldn't even do the math. I think 11.
I'm
we were 11.
I'm not gonna do that math.
So came out 13 years later, and this is Avatar. We're gonna call it Avatar 2. It's easier.
Avatar 2.
It's Avatar 2 to us, right? So James Cameron made. I think you consider this a big gamble, wouldn't you? Would you say that?
At the time that he started making it, no. As things started going along and the advertisements going through, less so. It's probably becoming more of a gamble.
Yeah. You heard, I think everyone's heard this, right?
Mm-hmm.
This needs to become the 4th or 5th highest grossing movie of all time to break even. So it needs to score, the number here is it needs to get between 2.05 and 2.08 billion with a B dollars to break even. That's a hefty goal, even for a film. The original Avatar is the highest grossing film of all time. So you wouldn't think like, oh, it's got a great chance. But since it's been 13 years, has some of the hype gone down? Is it not as technologically advanced, so it doesn't have that cool 3D new tech pull that the first one got? I don't know. Do you think it's going to make it?
I personally don't think so. If it does, it'll scrape by. I mean, when we were at the theater, like, there were people there, but it wasn't as packed as, like, Black Panther,
No Way
Forever. No Way Home.
Yeah.
Those were way more packed theaters, and we were there opening night.
Yeah.
And, I mean, if it's not going to just go out of the park opening night, then it has to be so good that word of mouth will bring people in weeks and weeks to come to, like Top Gun Maverick. Opening weekend was really good. But what made it...
Consistency.
It was consistently pulling in numbers. People rewatched the movie. I don't know if Way of Water is going to get that.
Now, for those of you listening to audio only, as Richard was saying all that, he was pretentiously holding his glass of limoncello in his hand. Pinky was almost out. I almost saw his pinky out. It was so close. So if you see me, going toward the whiskey every now and then, just know I'm inspired.
Well, he's doing it for medicinal reasons.
Yes.
To clear his throat. I'm doing it.
We are doctors.
I don't want to be left out.
No. Just be weird. We have to have some parallelism.
Exactly.
To that. So
you care so much about getting like the chair.
Yeah.
The
chair's got to be right.
The chair has to be just right where there's just the exact same amount of space on either side of the chair.
And also look at this Boromir as a new addition to the set. Fantastic. Oh, I love and the tree, of course.
Well, I think it's also good to say that we've actually haven't recorded in quite a while ourselves.
I've been on vacation.
Yeah, so
that's how I got sick. So enough about sickness. We're getting into a sick movie, if you like the movie. So we'll get into our thoughts. But Avatar 2 wasn't the only film that James Cameron filmed at the time. He also filmed Avatar 3 at the same time as Avatar 2. Did a double whammy. So it is certain and 100% certain that Avatar 3 will come out. But James Cameron said, if Avatar 2 and 3 end up kind of flopping and they lose a lot of money, Avatar 4 and 5, which are planned, will not be released. They're not going to film them. The script for 4, I believe, is done, but 3 is completely filmed. And get this, Avatar 3 being completely filmed, it's 9 hours long of film, and James Cameron reportedly sent the 9 hours to the VFX or whatever, sent it forward and said, I want all of this, all CGI. I want it done before we start cutting anything. The guy has, I mean,
That guy's mean.
it's also James Cameron.
That's mean.
Can you say no to him? I don't know.
Can you imagine being one of those VXX, those effects people working on it and just hours of your work just cut? Like, oh, you spend 40 hours on like a 10-minute scene and then just like, cut it. Like, that's not how movies work. You cut first and then you polish it up with the CGI. That's the last step.
Did you make Titanic? Did you make Terminator 2? I think you just don't know the mastery, the mind.
You don't like Avatar 1, same as me.
Avatar 1. Yeah, let's get into our thoughts of this movie. Because first we want to preface this with, we are not, I think me especially, I am not an Avatar 1 fan. The original Avatar to me is it's a visual spectacle. Gotta give credit where credit is due. But other than that, story's bad, dialogue's bad. I was not emotionally...
it's Pocahontas or Dancing with Wolves on an alien planet with blue people. That's it.
Yeah.
And it doesn't even do it that well.
Yeah.
Doesn't do that aspect very well. So, especially the first one. Dialogue, characters, plot, all that took a far further, second to the visual effects.
And seeing as we're not fans of the first one, expectations going into The Way of Water,
real low.
Mine were also low. I was expecting something very visually pleasing, and we'll get into more of that, but I surpassed my expectations visually. It personally did. I was stunned. I was stunned.
Yeah.
But even beyond that, the more important things to me, story, the characters, the character arcs, the plot, how emotional are you? All those aspects, all surpassed my expectations. Mind you, expectations were low, but I was genuinely surprised.
Yeah, I was also surprised by it.
Yeah.
I was looking over it, like after the movie's done, looking over it, going like, is it weird that I don't dislike this movie?
Yeah. I felt like we should
like
have, right?
I'm a curmudgeon. I should not like this.
It's like, why are we it's so close to Christmas? You feel like we bring out that Ebenezer Scrooge, and we didn't. We needed to have, it would just make more sense.
See, now you're pulling a me. You're going all hyping it up on how you actually like it.
Yeah.
And then we're going to rate it. Everyone's going to be upset.
Mind you, I walked into this expecting a solid 4. A 4, and it surpassed my expectations in that regard. Right? And what do you think the public's rated this right now? Because I'll give you some of the numbers. How do you think the sentiment is?
I think audience score probably sub 80%.
Sub 80.
That's what I would think.
Now again, we're recording this. It's Saturday. This movie came out Thursday night premiered. So it's a 94% audience score. Ooh. Very freaking high. But the critics score 78. So critics are a little tougher on it. Then IMDb, you have an 8.2. And for reference, the original Avatar had a critic score on Rotten Tomatoes, had a critic score of 82% and an audience score of 82%, identical. So it looks like it might level around that. It's pretty much on par with the first Avatar. But I think you and I will both say this to everybody. The Way of Water is significantly better than the first installment, Avatar 1.
100%.
Yeah.
It is almost every category, it is better.
Yes, absolutely.
The one exception is possibly cinematography score, but it's only because the first movie was it was a groundbreaking movie, where Avatar 2, the visual effects are better, certainly better than the first movie. But is it as groundbreaking? No. But it is stunning.
Right.
So it's just that context of the era it comes out in.
Yeah.
But that's That's a small potatoes thing. We'll get to that later.
We should have mentioned this earlier as well.
Hmm.
I'll make sure to put this earlier, but this is spoiler-free section.
Yeah, later we will mention when we start getting to actual spoilers.
Yes,
but
so this is 100% spoiler-free until we mention otherwise.
Yeah.
Right? And what would you say then is your spoiler-free, completely spoiler-free review of the movie and feelings of the movie?
I would say the movie's visual effects were so good that you forget about it. That there were a couple moments where I was like, I forgot, like, oh yeah, this is a CGI movie. This is like completely CGI, and I forgot. Like, it immersed you into that world, which is very impressive. That's incredibly impressive to do. Character-wise, I cared about some of the characters a little bit. Like, there were a couple I was laughing along with. I was interested in where they were going. Dialogue was not as bad as the first. First movie had rough dialogue. It was rough.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you liked the first movie, I think you'll like the second.
I think if you like the first, you'll love the second.
The only thing is pacing. If you like the first movie and you kind of likes it, it's more quick. This movie is very different. It is slowly paced. The action is not as bombastic all the time, so not sure.
Okay, I think we'll have a discussion there because I don't know if I agree with that.
Okay.
I don't know, and reason being, my spoiler-free review of this would be, there's no more Jake Sully human element. You're not going back and forth between the Na'vi and the humans, and the human part really dragged it down in the first movie for me.
Especially and it's the worst part of the second movie. Thankfully, there's not much.
There's not much of it, right?
Yeah.
So, Avatar: The Way of Water, if you're going into it and you don't know if you want to watch it yet, it is obviously visually stunning, but also an upgrade in every regard from the first movie. Doesn't mean is it the best movie of the year? No. Is it phenomenal character work? No. Is it phenomenal anything other than the cinematography? No, it's not. But you're going to watch it, and what really surprised me and surpassed my expectations was the third act, which we'll get into in spoilers.
Yeah.
There's a big problem with the third act, which we'll talk about, but except for that, it was really exciting and actually had you interested. And the world was more interesting. The world building was more interesting. And we're about to give our rating of this movie. It's not going to sound like we love it that much after you hear our rating. But want to give our spoiler-free rating?
Yeah, sure.
All right. What was your overall Avatar: The Way of Water rating?
A 5.15.
This is demented. This is so demented.
It is ever so slightly above average, everything said.
You know, as soon as I walked out of the theater, I gave it a rough rating, and it was a 5. I sat and thought about it, and my official rating of Avatar: The Way of Water is a 5.5. And people listening and watching, you're saying, how could you rate it that low or high, whatever you're thinking. Yeah. I'm genuinely happy with the experience.
That's the thing. Most people would, they see like a clip on TikTok or YouTube shorts of our ratings and stuff. They think, oh, 5 out of 10. Oh, that's 50%. That's a failure. That's an F. No, that's not. Like,
it's above average.
5 is average. 5 is like, hey, it's a movie. That's it. Like, I don't have too strong of feelings about it.
Right.
That's what it means. A 5 out of 10 is not like the worst thing ever.
No,
it's just a movie. That's all it is.
Yeah.
There's a lot of movies that are just 5 out of 10, 6 out of 10, 4 out of 10. That's where most movies are.
I guess where it stands is I think I'd recommend watching the movie.
I guess.
I would to certain people. I mean, if you really didn't like the first one, which we didn't either, I think it's worth a shot to go see it because you might like some aspects more than us. Yeah. You might, if you're huge on visuals, absolutely see it, especially in theaters.
We have a friend who loves the visual aspects of the movie more than clearly anything.
Yeah.
He rated it very highly because the visuals were stunning.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
That is very fair. So if you're here for a nice an impactful story and deep character work, don't expect that.
Okay.
Clearly don't expect that. But
just for context, what did you rate the first movie?
A 3.8.
Dang, I gave it a 4.5.
Okay, so I really hated. I'm really down on the first movie. You were higher on it.
I was high, but like not
Still didn't
much.
like it.
I still
Right.
didn't like it, but the visuals brought it up a lot for me.
So I guess that puts it into perspective. Me talking about Avatar 2 is in the frame of I gave the first movie a 3.8, and giving the second movie a 5.5 is a huge upgrade in my book.
Yeah.
I was expecting another 4, like I said, I was expecting another big downer, and we didn't get that. And by the way, can you tell me, how does my sick voice sound? Is it kind of alluring? Is it nice?
No comment.
You guys tell me in the audience whether
It's just better.
look at his
often.
eyes. Tell me he's not enthralled right now.
God.
Okay, I think that clears up the spoiler free zone, right?
Yeah.
Can we go through that gate? Can we get into spoilers?
Yeah, let's go right into spoilers here.
All right. Warning in 3, 2, 1. Spoilers now. All right, category time.
All right,
Let's
go
do
right,
this.
right into emotional impact.
Emotional impact. What'd you rate emotional impact?
A 5.5.
5.5. Again, in my original rating, exactly a 5.5. Sleeping on it, I give it a 6.1. Can you believe that? It exceeded a 6.
I'm surprised you're actually increasing the score with time.
Yes, that is odd for me to do, but I left it, and of the visual components, a lot of it, of wow, I can't believe the movie really did look as if it was live action.
Yeah.
And it's all CGI. We're like 95% of it's CGI, right?
Mm-hmm.
I can't believe that. So that bumped it up for me. But also, as I mentioned in the spoiler-free section, though, that third act, the revenge element with, I like
See,
that part.
A thing that I probably would have rated it higher,
Yeah.
but it did dock quite a bit, was the older brother. Like, the older brother's death
Fair.
did not hit at all
No,
for me.
you're right.
I saw it a mile away,
Mm.
and just when he died, didn't really feel anything. And so that probably that knocked it a bit for me. The younger brother, well, better than the older, was not. Just not enough time with him and didn't really connect with him too much. The two characters that I was most invested in were Spider and the mother.
We got to talk about Spider when we get into characters,
Yeah.
because Spider's going to be a long section of this review. Trust us, okay? Now, with saying that, though, I agree. The older brother's, so talking emotionally, purely emotionally, the older brother's death didn't hit me because he wasn't developed enough personally, so I didn't feel it. What did hit me is Neytiri, right? The mother's reaction, where she got into revenge mode, just into beast mode. I love that so much. And so the older brother's death didn't make me cry, but the reaction of the mother and just going, oh, like, you're dead, Colonel. That
She
got
is
me.
the best character of the movie.
Yes, she
Yeah.
is, and she acts very well, and you can understand her motivations. However, with the children, less interest, I guess.
However, I do think the little sister, what's her name?
Oh, no idea.
It's
No idea. But little sister.
Kos or Kos or whatever.
Mm.
Anyway, I did like her. I think she was cute. She had real big little sister energy. Like, there was one line that actually did get me. I did laugh. in the
Funniest
theater.
line of the movie.
No, I don't even know if it was the funniest one, but it was the little brothers talking about, oh, I saw this big monster and the big monster saved me, and they're all laughing at him.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, you guys just don't listen to me. And the little like it's small, you can barely hear it. Little sister goes like, I'm listening to you. I'm listening to you, big brother. Like, yeah,
Yes.
good sister, just nice supportive little sister.
Hell
like,
yeah. I thought you were going to talk about the other moment with the little sister.
Oh,
where
no.
she gets tied up. She's like, we're tied up again.
Yeah, that was
And
funny.
without that, I think that actually added a good element to it, because there were so many hostage situations, and so many bad decisions being made.
We're
by
gonna
the
get that
children.
into the plot. Plot
will.
is the weakest element of the movie.
One of the weakest, yes.
Sure.
But there were so many hostage situations and bad decisions by the kids that her saying that kind of added I think the film recognizes that they're doing this a lot, which helped meld with the rest of the film to me.
Sure.
But emotionally, you would say we're very close on it emotionally. Yeah. I'm telling you, the day I slept on it made it boost just a little bit more. I don't know why. I guess I'm in a good mood.
Yeah, I generally feel the same way. It's just a couple things brought it down too much. I don't think such an important death. Like, If I felt anything at all for the big brother's death, I probably would have raised it higher.
That makes
That's an
sense.
important moment that they really needed to land. They did not.
Fair enough.
They,
Fair enough.
and I just weighed that more. Like it should have been one of the most emotional moment in the movie. It was not.
I agree with you on the point. I really do. And I also want to mention in the emotional section here the amount of, I don't want to say gore because it's not gore, but the PG-13 rating. I was surprised with arm getting cut off, and there was middle fingers flying and curses. So there's a little bit. It seemed a little aged up from the first one, which makes sense because maybe they're aging it up with the audience of the first movie.
Yeah.
But it was definitely more. Again, the word's not gory, but a synonym for that means less than gory, but more than just neutral. Do you get what I'm saying here? It was kind of not edgy. Edgy is the wrong word too, but one of those words.
For some reason, macabre is the thing that sticks into my head, and I know that's
What
the
is
wrong
that?
word.
What, a corn on the cob?
No, like
Macabre. Yeah.
macabre.
Yeah.
It's the wrong word, but I'm.
Oh, here comes your Mr. Reader coming out with macabre. Look at me, I'm throwing out words.
I watched Wednesday. That's the word that speaks into my head.
Oh, that was a word used in Wednesday
No, but it's the perfect word to
to
describe.
describe the show.
Yeah.
Got it. So emotionally, we're feeling similar, I guess. Yeah, we're there.
That's about what I thought about it.
Okay.
Let's move on to characters.
Character-wise, what did you rate the characters?
4.25.
Okay, I'm a little surprised. That no, I'm not surprised.
Higher
I
than
take that
yours?
back. I gave it an exact 5. I
Oh, okay.
I could not be more neutral about a category like ever. Ever, because I think if there's one phrase to describe my feelings of The Way of Water, there are as many good things to say about this movie as there are bad, like equally good and bad. And I think that is emphasized when it comes to the character category. Really, really emphasized, where I think there's equally as good to say as bad. What do you think? You think it edges toward
I
the
do think
lower
it
end?
edges toward a lower end.
Tell me.
Again, Big Brother, important.
Yep.
I think Jake definitely sidelined. Like, he's better in the second movie than the first, but not that strong of a character. He had one good moment, and it was the moment where, his wife is, what's her name? You can help me out?
Neytiri.
Neytiri. Neytiri is telling him like, "Hey, your children are not soldiers. Like, you're being too hard on them. Treat them like your children." And the mask drops a little bit, and he goes, "I thought he was dead, Neytiri. I thought we lost him."
Right.
And it's a moment of, okay, like, he isn't just the heart. It's that good mix of this hardened soldier and the actual father. That was the one good moment he had. Everything else just completely forgettable. His motivation was not that great. I think didn't really make a lot of sense.
Okay.
Most of the characters, not that great. They were average at best. Even the Colonel, which they set up for some cool stuff in the next movie. Like, I'm excited for his character next movie. But I enjoyed him more in the first. He was more bombastic. He was more fun then. So I have slightly more negative things to say than positive. But I do have positive things to say. Like, I liked Spider. I liked the mother.
What Spider?
Theory. Spider was just funny and weird. I mean, he was basically Mowgli, but I enjoyed him. He was funny.
Okay, let's talk about Spider. But
Yeah.
before that, I want to mention with this movie, the 5 for me. I think one of my favorite characters, Neytiri, obviously, but also the whale. You got to give some credit to that whale.
The whale's good.
The whale is a character, and the whale's a good. I love
Also,
the world building behind
what
the
a
whale.
what a great way to kind of navigate around being like a Deus Ex Machina. It did not feel like it.
No, it didn't.
Because they well established how intelligent the whales were. And the fact that the whale could do all these things in a fight was like, yeah, it makes sense. He's not a dumb animal. Like, he's as smart or smarter than the humans and the Na'vi.
Yes.
So that was cool.
What did you think about the world building with, I think it went to the brainstem or something to get out the juice? It's the unobtainium of this movie, essentially.
It's better than unobtainium.
It is way better than unobtainium, and that's a low frickin' bar. So, the brain juice, and I'm going to steal this from the Angry Joe show.
Let's save that for world building and
Yes, absolutely.
the world.
Can I mention what the Angry Joe show said, because it's
Sure.
hilarious, right?
Hmm.
So the Angry Joe, they looked at this and said, "Oh yeah, not serum, but the liquid from the brainstem literally stops aging for human beings." And then when it's revealed that it costs 85 million, the Angry Joe show, they say, "Whoa, so it costs like a tenth of this movie." So to stop aging literally cost a fraction of the budget to make this film. And I sat there, like, yeah, I guess that is a little cheap for stopping aging entirely. That's a good point. So
Yeah, that does seem cheap.
it does in retrospect, right?
And I don't even think it takes the whole vial either.
No, it's just a poor. Yeah, I guess
Like, does it take a whole vial to stop aging, or can that be split up amongst
that's a good
people?
question. I'm
Because then
curious now.
like, can everyone get in on pitch in together and get one of those vials?
Maybe.
Little timeshare action on it.
We'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll get into that more in plot. But with characters, we got to talk about Spider.
Okay. Yeah.
Spider, I'm gonna disappoint you. Spider acted poorly. Let's be honest. Spider, whatever real person you are, the actor. I'm nothing against you. It's probably the script you're given and whatnot, but not the best actor, I gotta say. However, I've never laughed harder. I think in a movie, like I gotta say, I have 4 points to make, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this is the low. So at the point where the colonel was killing animals or burning the forest or whatever, he was saying, "This is wrong. This is wrong." I chuckled a little bit because it was just said so poorly. It was kind of funny. But then he's just kind of walking with the soldiers in another scene. He just calls them, "Yeah, dumbass." I'm just like, oh, that's all right. But then it gets better. The next best scene with Spider is he's a hostage. He's just chilling in the ship. He grabs a fire extinguisher, bang, 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 and then just starts whacking people. I'm like, Spider, oh my, I didn't think you were Spider-Man. That's crazy. But the funniest scene of them all, this one is the creme de creme. I just said that wrong, but it's the creme de la creme whatever, of Spider sequences, is when Jake Sully and Neytiri's kids get captured onto the boat with the colonel.
Mm-hmm.
In the third act, right? They get captured, and then Spider sees him getting captured. He goes breakneck speed, torches people, gets out of the way, cracks someone's knuckles, like jumps, does an Olympic dive over a railing, shuffles, gets through, finally gets to his friends, gets held back, and he's like, "Hey, you guys okay?" That's all he does. That's all he says. And I'm just sitting there going, whoa.
It did seem like a lot of
That's
effort
a
for
lot.
nothing.
That's a lot of effort just to be like, "Hey, bro, you guys okay?" That was it. That right there sealed the deal. Spider's the best character in cinema. Right there. I don't know if you agree, but tell me your thoughts on Spider, because I had so much to say.
They're all about the same. Like, he became an actually interesting character by the end. Like, the beginning made, like, I don't understand why he was even helping out.
Right?
Like, why was he helping the
His
soldiers?
motivations were so strange.
Yeah, like him, like, resisting the torture. All right, yeah, no, he's Team Na'vi. Like, he's one of his people. He's not going to sell him out. Then his, like, clone dad talks to him and, like, hey, I don't know. It just felt weird that he was just willing to help him out, find Jake, and then that had no consequences.
Was he threatened?
It was like he said, like, "Oh, if you don't help me out, I'm gonna have to put you back to the scientists." And so he's kind of helping it, but like, he looked like he was actually genuinely helping. Like, I don't know, it didn't seem like he was resisting a lot until, like, it was the switch of a, like, flip of a switch.
Whenever it was convenient for the film, right?
Exactly. Like, he was either actually helping out, he was
Yeah.
helping the soldiers, and, like, going, "Hey, this is how you ride one of these Werven things. Hey, here's where you go." Like, all he was translating, doing all the stuff. And then when it was convenient to the film, he was, like, fighting back and actually, like,
Right.
doing something. But it was weird how it was just the two polar opposites, and you didn't see him resisting more actively when he was helping out. Like, the general did not have to, like, the colonel did not have to pull teeth with him to get him to help.
They're definitely setting up something with him and the colonel in the next movie. it wasn't very clear to me here. I guess the clearest thing here is they're trying to make him. Ooh, is he on the Navi side or is he with his dad and the humans?
Well, definitely by the end, it's clearly a, hey, my clone dad saved my life. Like, literally. He did save my life. I owe him.
Yeah.
It seems more like that thing of,
Gotcha.
hey, I owe you one. There you go. We're square. You
Mm.
saved my life. I saved yours. And I'm going back to my people.
Peace.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
That's what it seemed like to me.
So Spider, were you overall positive on Spider?
Oh, yeah, sure. He's fun.
Nice. I love that.
He was a fun one.
Oh, I've never laughed so hard. That was so funny to me. The thing that tops it for me is a lot of the characters, like the older brother needed to be more developed. Absolutely. Jake Sully, the dad, the main character. I guess you could consider the
Younger
main
brother
character.
had more development and yet didn't land for me as much.
I loved him most when he was with the outcast whale.
Yeah.
So
Sure.
I liked that parallel. I liked how that kind of went. But what really topped it for me is the whale and Neytiri. I love third act Neytiri so much. Just how vengeful she became, and especially what they did really well was with Neytiri and the Colonel, and how the Colonel saw how his clone previous human self died to those arrows. And then you see
getting
Neytiri,
PTSD, yeah.
Neytiri shooting these arrows, boom, and there's one sick scene where she, I think, chucks an arrow into someone and then threw someone. I like the cinematography with it. It was nice. I liked that.
The third act was fun.
Yeah, it was
really
fun.
coolly shot.
But then her shooting the fear in the Colonel's eyes for a moment, it was really neat, and I like that a lot. And also, although I didn't, it was a bit derivative with a lot of the younger kids, especially the bowling scenes, them going against the grain, whatnot. Of course, it's a bit cliche. However, although I didn't feel specifically like this is a great character, I can't wait to see where they go. I felt as a group, as a cohesive group of kids, I felt okay. I'm somewhat interested in where they go next movie. I'm not completely checked out. I'm like, all right, let's see what happens.
They didn't burn any bridges.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not gonna complain. You feel me?
Well, we're doing a very long podcast of complaining.
I think we're being pretty 5.15, pretty 5.5 on this. We're pretty even, aren't we?
I guess so.
A fair shot, huh?
Yeah, I have. Yeah, it is a whole. It's just a mixed bag.
We're either gonna piss off everybody or nobody. It's one or the other.
Oh no, we're gonna piss off both sides. Everyone that really loves it, like, oh, how could they rate it so low? And everyone that just hates the movie.
That's what I mean.
Oh, why'd you rate it so low?
Everybody or
we
nobody.
Piss off
there's
everybody.
No difference. So, anything else with characters that you want to mention? I think that's the main gist, right? So, plot-wise, what did you rate the plot of The Way of Water?
3.75.
3.75?
Yeah.
I give it a 4. Yes.
Yeah. For me, it's one of the weakest elements.
It is
because,
one of the weakest,
so motivation on kind of rapid fire.
Well, start at the beginning if you can.
Yeah, I am. First movie, the Force is very important. It's the home. You could see this kind of emotional connection to, the All Mother, their God.
Yeah.
And the Force is very important. That was the whole point of the first movie, is to protect the forest. And then they just up and leave. Just leave.
Richard, that's my first note as well. That's my first note. It's kind of the first movie, just like, oh, that's gone.
Not our home anymore.
Yeah.
Hey. And they go, and Jake's like, hey, where, our home is where our family is. Like, our family is our home.
Mm-hmm.
Fair enough. That's the message of the story. Okay. But then by the end, he's like, actually, no, this water people place, the water, this is actually our home.
This is where we make our stand.
This is the stand. It's like, why not the Force? Like, suddenly the water, like,
all the unobtainium's gone.
So there was that.
Yeah.
And
Sky, what did you think about the Sky people being back and Colonel being back?
It makes sense they're back. I didn't actually hate the Colonel being brought back. He was the best part of the first movie. All right.
Did you think you would hate it?
I thought I would.
Me too.
And I didn't.
I was like, hey, I think this is a cop out. And then I kind of sat there and was like,
It's a movie series with a thing called unobtainium.
Yeah.
I
thought the same thing. Oh my goodness.
It's not that big of a...
It's like we have a podcast and similar opinions. Isn't
Yeah.
that just a great duel? Let's just nod our heads at each other. Isn't that great? Okay.
But the motivations for the humans make very little sense to me And I could explain.
Yeah.
You see, I have an idea that could maybe, in my own head canon, could explain it away.
Yeah.
But they didn't do it in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Why were they just going after Jake Sully?
Agreed.
And like, oh yeah, no,
Headcanon solves it.
we're allowed. We can let all the other blue people live. All the Na'vi, like, yeah, we're not going after them. They're not a concern. It's only Jake Sully. That's the only person we gotta get. That top priority numero uno.
The person who's hiding,
Yeah,
causing no problems right now.
Yeah, it's like, why? Why do you go? And now here, my headcanon
Headcanon,
that
yeah.
could explain it is, well, they are gonna have to wipe out the Na'vi later. They know they're gonna have to just genocide them all eventually, but they need to wipe out the people of influence that could actually unite tribes together.
Yes.
They want the Na'vi separated and fractured.
Yeah.
And so they know Jake Sully can unite tribes because he did it before.
Yes.
So we need to kill him. We need to kill anybody that can actually unite the people. And then once they're divided, then we could start wiping them out and they won't be a problem.
But the movie didn't make that super clear.
No.
Mm.
So if that's what they're going for, cool.
Right.
But I didn't get that from the movie.
I also didn't. But that is my headcanon too.
Yeah.
I agree very much with you.
That's the only explanation that makes sense.
Right. Because otherwise, why are you sending all... This is a lot of resources to kill this one man. Which makes sense in your head of, okay, if he can create an uprising again. But they were... The way it showed that to the audience felt like the explanation wasn't there. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got that.
No,
So what else about the plot?
The fact that Jake runs.
Yep.
Kind of weird.
Yeah.
His motivation was very weird to begin with, and then willing to fight but not willing to fight. Odd. They don't know how. Nobody knows how hostages work. It was baffling how they have. Oh, we have hostages, and then they attack, and then the group attacks, and
Well, I guess
we're not gonna threaten the hostages.
we lost them.
We're just gonna move away from the hostages now. Like, we're gonna leave the hostages over there and go do our thing. It's like, no, that's not how it works.
Can I one up you right now? I think that's probably the second biggest problem with the plot. You know,
I know the first
the
one.
first biggest problem with the plot, and
all the
viewers
people
and audience,
left.
whoever's listening right now, please tell us if we have this wrong.
Yeah.
If I have this wrong here, right? I think you agree. But in the third act, you know what I'm talking about?
Oh, I do.
In the third act, the water tribe, the water people who went with Jake Sully and his family to get back the water tribe's daughter, right? The chief's daughter and whatnot. At some point in the third act, they all just disappeared.
Yeah.
They vanished. Like
Completely
in
gone,
Avatar The Last Airbender, he vanished for 100 years.
When they needed him most.
When they needed them most,
They vanished.
they vanished. Think about that. Like, where did they go?
Yeah, even the father. There's
There's
maybe some explanation of, like, I don't know, they got separated, the fire, and
The
then
fire. Yeah, but even think about it. Their daughter's still there.
Yeah.
Like, their point was get our daughter back. Your daughter's not back. Where did
And
you all go?
It's not like they all got killed. Like, they were
No.
doing well. They were
Oh.
kicking butt.
They were doing great.
They just stopped.
Are we wrong on this? What?
I don't think so, but maybe.
It just seemed like such a huge plot hole to me.
How could we both miss it?
Yeah.
If it isn't, like, yeah, no, I don't get it.
Okay, so you had that same complaint.
Yeah, I did have that.
All
And
right.
then lastly, I think this is the one that will get. I think it will affect the most amount of people watching. I think
What?
it'll be the biggest negative people will think about it is the pacing felt slow. Like, it's
Okay.
a long movie,
The second act, especially.
especially the second
Gotcha.
act. But I think even the first a little bit. But it's a lot of world building, a lot of character drama stuff, and probably not as exciting for everybody.
Mhm.
And it feels a little slow sometimes
Gotcha.
until the third act, and then it's fast. So I
Okay.
can imagine that would be a negative for most people, and myself included, a little bit.
Yeah, I'm mixed on that because I think I wasn't bored. I was kind of kept in it with the world building was neat, and yes, again, I'll say it again, derivative stuff with the plot. the bullying situations, the How to Train Your Dragon with a Whale, essentially.
Yeah.
A lot of it's super cliche. However, it's such a neat world, and Pandora is great that it kept me it kept me interested in that regard. And also, I there was a couple things going on in the background that I kind of wanted to see how it connected in the third act and in the finale. There
Mm.
was enough going on to where I went, huh? So what's happening with the new unobtainium, the whale brain juice and whatnot? And I like that scene a lot of them catching the whale. Added a lot of value to the world there, and the meaning, the connection between nature and the Navi, the water people there, water tribe. I'm sure there's a name for the water tribe. We're totally missing here.
Yeah, don't get me started. I'm terrible with names.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna get names.
right.
Names are not my thing.
Yeah. So I agree with you on the plot for the most part. I mean, there's those couple big plot holes, and it is cliche. I think what really gave it, and again, I gave it a 4 out of 10 for the plot, but what really boosted it from going lower was the third act. To me was exhilarating. I loved the action. I loved the revenge element, and I loved that there was the Titanic part 2 of another Titanic sinking. James Cameron knows how to sink boats.
He does know how to sink ships.
He knows, and I got that online. I can't claim that as my own. I got that
Okay.
from some commenter that I'm so sorry. It was someone commented. I'll put it on screen here, but I thought that was hilarious. So he knows that that third act was also long, and it was deservingly long. And I went, all right. And one of the moments that I really liked in plot wise was where the colonel was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna keep hunting you down, Jake Sully. You're really gonna." And Jake just goes, "Let's do it." Boom, boom, boom. I like that. You know, I wasn't. I was there for the movie.
I did think Jake was gonna run away again.
Yeah.
For a little bit, I was like, "Oh, is he gonna run away again?"
Again, yeah.
But no, he didn't.
No.
It's good.
So, and I guess to the end of the movie, plot wise, tell me what you think here, because I'm also mixed. I guess this is why I gave it a 5.5 overall, right? I'm mixed on this. It definitely feels like a part oneer, the film.
Yeah.
The film feels like a part oneer where there's a lot to be explored still. Of okay, we're making our last stand here. So didn't feel entirely complete. Doesn't feel like a movie on its own.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Because there were a bunch of interesting stuff that happened in the third act and then wasn't concluded. Like it's clearly
Right.
set up for the second movie.
Yeah.
The stuff with Spider and
His
the
dad.
Teary and
Spider
his
and
dad.
Colonel, right?
And so there's clearly going to be like Jake, because he was once human and now is fully a Na'vi.
Yeah.
He sees both human and Na'vi as equal. Like he only kills humans because like they're hurting people he cares about.
Right.
But he sees them like, hey, if you're my friend and you're my family, it doesn't matter if you're human or Na'vi. Equal.
Mm-hmm.
He does see a type of union between the two peoples, where Natiri does not, clearly. Like, she can like him well enough, but when the chips are down, humans are not the same as Na'vi to her.
Man, Natiri carried. She was so good.
It's definitely there's a prejudice there.
Yeah.
Rightly so. It's an understandable prejudice.
Yeah.
But it's something that if some type of lasting piece is going to be a conclusion, she's gonna have to work for. She's
Mhm.
gonna have to actually change a little bit and kind of understand that like both people actually have to be seen as equals, and they can both be family. They can
Right.
both be valuable. So I'm interested to see where that goes with Spider, because that's kind of that conduit to there. Spider, the opposite channel, where he's starting to see humans a bit more valuable, and realizing that his place among the Na'vi is tenuous. He's part of the family until one of the Na'vi is threatened. Then he's not a part of the family, and he realized that. So that'll be interesting. Colonel seems to be having his own character. Like they spent a lot of time with him developing, and I'm just like, it seems like he's gonna be like no longer a villain. He's gonna turn into an antagonist, and he's gonna go
There's
on
gonna
like
be a bigger bad.
he's gonna no yeah I think he's gonna turn into some type of anti-hero. Like he's gonna go on his own character journey separately.
I'd be disappointed if the end of Avatar 5 is like a Colonel versus Jake Sully. type
Yeah.
situation. I'd be
I
really
kind of want
disappointed.
Colonel to work with Jake Sully by the
Yes.
end.
Yeah.
Not the third movie, but like the fourth movie.
Yeah.
Like third movie, I don't want them to meet at all.
I
Just
want there to be
Colonel.
A Thanos situation
Exactly.
comes
Yeah,
in, and
yeah.
you're like, hey, Colonel and Jake got to solve your differences, and you got to fight for humanity and the Na'vi, something like that, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so plot wise, we're there. What about, or did you want to mention anything else on plot, or are you good?
Oh, the small thing was, why was Spider left alone so much when he was fighting back? Like, he
Yes,
fought back so many multiple times.
Well, he's Spider. He's
And
Spider.
then he was just left
He's got
alone.
fire extinguishers. What more do you want? The kid's just a goat, right?
Yeah, it's just, but it was funny.
All right,
Anyway, let's go on to dialogue.
Yeah, dialogue. What did you rate dialogue?
4.5.
I give it a 3-4. I guess. Oh, that's our biggest difference.
I guess so. Yeah.
Why'd you give it the 4.5?
It edged toward the negative, but I thought it was very middle of the road.
Okay.
Like I have the fewest amount of notes is for dialogue. It was
Same.
better than the first movie.
Agreed.
Because first movie, some of that dialogue was laughable.
Yeah.
It was hilariously bad. Where this one, a couple lines I don't think landed, but overall it was like, mostly forgettable. It's fine in the moment.
I gotcha. Okay. I lean more negative. I think you like Spider a bit more than me in the dialogue aspect. I didn't think any of his lines, all of his lines pretty much for me just fell.
Oh, okay.
For example, this is wrong, as everything's burning. Just for some reason I went, oh, that's just, I don't
See, I just thought
you.
that was neutral. Like,
Yeah,
it's
thought
not
it
a
was
great
negative.
line, but it's not like it's
The delivery
not
to me
bad.
was just bad.
Oh, okay.
But the concept of the I see you from Jake Sully and whatnot, yes, cliche. I'm just like, all right, it's okay. I see you. Yes, message wise, but it's just we've seen it before. I get it. It's when it becomes so cliche that it's adds nothing new of value. That, I guess, that's the definition of cliche. I'm repeating myself. But also, with all the kids, I think I docked my dialogue 0.1 for every time one of the kids said bro. I heard bro so many times. And yes, I get it. Jake Sully was a military guy, and so he's teaching when he's talking. I guess he uses the word bro.
His family talks like him.
But just a bunch of Na'vi on this beautiful planet of Pandora saying bro.
No, to be fair, they're not saying it in English.
Right, they're saying it in
Well,
Na'vi.
they did it very early on in the movie where Jake says,
I like that.
I did like that a lot,
Yeah.
actually, of like, hey, the Na'vi language now it's like English to me.
Yep.
And switch right, and then no more separate Na'vi language. It's just English.
Yeah, yeah.
And like, oh, thank God.
Yep.
Don't make it harder for me.
Yeah.
I don't want to read subtitles.
That was great. Yeah, I love that part.
Yeah.
Narration wise, though, they didn't do the narration in the original Avatar, the first movie, was so bad.
Awful.
It was really bad. This movie was not as bad, but I still didn't love it.
I didn't like it, but they cut it out.
Yeah,
it wasn't that much.
It wasn't an inappropriate amount of time like the first movie, so I didn't mind it so much. Whereas the first movie centered around him going back to his logs as well and whatnot, which I get, but also the narration on top of that. So a lot of that bothered me, but at the same time, like, I like some scenes with the little sister, like we mentioned before. I'm tied up again. Neytiri, some of her dialogue was great. Just, it definitely leaned negative for me too. I guess I'm harsher on Spider. I guess that's what it comes down to.
I didn't feel too negatively about Spider's dialogue.
I can't believe that.
I just didn't.
I thought we would bond here over Spider. We kind of are. We kind of are bonding over Spider. So, all right, not much more to say.
Not much really to say. Cinematography, though.
Yes, lots to say on this.
This will be an interesting one, I think, rating-wise.
This was the biggest rating change for me since yesterday.
Same here. I had to really think about it and really apply how we actually judge cinematography. And we had a conversation about this a while ago on, do we judge visual aspects?
Directing.
Music. Do we judge the visuals on what is around the time, or do we judge it to today's standard?
Right.
And so that really affected my score.
Okay.
So with Avatar 1, I rated it actually higher on visuals because I think if you compare the two, yes, the second movie is better.
Visually
speaking.
Yeah.
It is. But the first movie was more groundbreaking.
It was made in '09. That's
It
what.
was
Yeah,
made in
gotcha.
'09, and damn, it still mostly
Yeah.
holds up today, and
Mhm.
it's stunning.
It still is.
It
Yeah.
still is stunning.
Still, you can't deny that.
Where the second movie is stunning. It does
Mhm.
really well. It's a cut above the rest today, but is it leagues better than everything today? No. It's
Mm.
better, but not that leaps and bounds of like knock it out of the park of like you've changed cinema forever. No, I don't think so. So that's why it's not much of a it's not much of a change, but it's somewhat. So I rated overall cinematography, including visuals, sound, and then directing, 7.75.
Holy crap. Oh, wow. So 775 for cinematography. That's why you prefaced it with
I
that.
had to preface that
You had
because
to
like
preface
there
it.
are a lot of like people go,
Yes.
"Oh,
Okay.
you think it was that bad?" No,
No,
like
no, I
it's
get you.
one aspect of the cinematography making because I did not like
So
the
that's
music as
interesting.
much, and I thought directing you mentioned before too many cuts to black, and the directing is felt just not as
Yeah, I
inspired.
mentioned that right after we watched the movie. There was a
Mm-hmm.
lot of fade to blacks and whatnot. So this is tough. This is tough because yesterday I gave the cinematography like somewhere around an 8.
Mm-hmm.
I slept on it and I just kept thinking about the movie and my final rating for cinematography is a 9.
Wow, real
A
high.
9, real high. And I agree with you on those two aspects. One, the some of the changes in the shots, a lot were fade to black and not super, nothing innovative. It's just it's exists. And number two, the music wasn't as wowing as I imagined or expected. I
Mm-hmm.
imagined it to be just it's not bad at all. Just an edge better. Those are my only negatives though. When it comes to the visual aspect of this, I I have to give it the 9. I have to give it the 9 for myself here because of how much I simply forgot that it's
That
that it's not live
that
action.
is the best part of the movie,
The
and
the
that
visuals
could
to
be the thing
me,
that convinced me to
yeah,
maybe up my score.
yeah, yeah,
Is
yeah. It's a 10
that is
out
a
of 10
hard thing.
visual.
It's a hard thing to think about. Of it gives you you forget about CGI,
You
which
completely,
that is new.
completely.
That's a very new thing in modern cinema. Is that
That
you
doesn't
can
happen.
yeah, no, nowadays because we're become so jaded to CGI, we all see it, and even if it's
Right.
good, we notice it, and it takes us out of film.
Yep.
Where in this movie, yeah, I was completely absorbed. I forgot that it was a CGI movie. I thought it
Insane.
was live action for like
Insane.
stretches of time, and then realizing, oh yeah, this is CGI.
Right.
Like the only thing was like the forest black dogs things that were running around. They
Okay.
didn't look too good, but they didn't look too good in the first movie. So they
Mm.
looked the same. Other than that, once they're out of the forest, the water scenes were stunning.
And you know why?
Hmm.
I looked this up, and this is some of the cinematography background, which is so interesting to me. So, for the history of film, films are typically shot in 24 frames per second.
Mm-hmm.
This film, The Way of Water, was filmed a lot in 24 frames per second, but a lot of the underwater scenes and some of the above ground scenes, but I think almost all of them underwater were shot in 48 frames per second to make it look more real or add an element of when you were underwater. It added this element to it that was visually pleasing, I guess. So a moment where this
Hmm.
failed, by the way, in a previous movie, The Hobbit series, at least
Oh,
was filmed in 48 frames per second. And a lot of people complain about the look of The Hobbit, me being one of them. It just doesn't,
I would agree.
especially the difference between The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings. It just seems very jarring. Whereas with The Way of Water, the CGI combined with a mix of the 24 and 48 frames per second to me worked really well. I really liked it.
Yeah, I agree.
And
It's kind of like a Spider Verse. Into the
mm,
Spider Verse, they layered it
yes,
where,
tell them.
well, where one character
Yes.
was actually filmed, or at a lower frame rate than another character, so it looked like they were glitching and they weren't in the same universe because they are alternate. It was such a good visual effect.
I can't wait till the next Spider Verse comes out because we're gonna do it back to back. We have to do a review of the first Spider-Verse and then the second.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that
I
movie
I
is
still
that
have not
floored me. That
I
movie.
still have not officially like given my thought on which is the best Spider-Man movie. Spider-Verse or Spider-Man 2?
It's close, isn't it?
And not Amazing Spider-Man 2. No. Tobey Maguire Spider-Man 2. Like if that had to be explained.
No Way
But
Home is third.
maybe
Ooh, okay.
and it's the best Tom Holland one.
Yeah.
So
Definitely.
maybe, yeah. There's not too many. So
Right.
I guess it's third
Right.
third or fourth.
But I love that with the frames per second of
Yeah.
that's a great addition.
I think that's definitely an underused aspect in filmmaking. Though I'm sure it's used more often, but just I don't know that it's used very often to show a real difference where they switch frame rates for
Mhm.
different scenes to kind of get a different reaction from the audience. It is very interesting.
That is. Yeah.
So
I mean, I understand your 775. Also, you must understand the outrage that people are going to give you.
when the first Avatar came out, it blew everything out of the water. Nothing was close. Nothing came close to the CGI from the first movie. It changed cinema for a decade to come.
Mhm.
I don't think it's going to be the same thing
Gotcha.
with Avatar 2.
I guess the difference then is I do think this is a step above the rest, CGI wise,
It is a step.
but
I
not a
don't.
significant step. Is what you're saying?
Yeah, I don't think it's at leap and bounds.
Okay.
Better.
Okay, understood. I just feel dirty not giving it at least a 9. I just couldn't do it. I couldn't do it for just the goodness of morals. It's just I had to be a moral person, and you're just
I'm just a moral person.
you're immoral. You're non-virtuous. You suck.
Yeah.
So that's overall. You gave it a 5.15 for the movie. I gave
Yeah.
it a 5.5. I could see my rating by next year. By the time Avatar 3 comes out, I could see it being adjusted either direction by 0.5.
Yeah,
So
I can see myself adjusting cinematography. I could be convinced on cinematography, and I could possibly drop characters maybe a bit.
you could.
Maybe I don't know. There's some adjustment that could be done like with cinematography, but
Yeah, I think if anything, my characters from 5 could definitely lower to a 4. But you know what? Let's end this on
Yeah.
a weirdly positive note with our 5 ratings. Okay, you listen.
Normally-
You're watching our channel. This is your fault. You chose to watch to the end here. You know how we are. Okay, I don't know why people do that. Why do you torture yourself? Why do you sit through this?
yeah. But hey, about the end of the video, if you're still watching, you're clearly enjoy the content well enough. We'll talk real briefly. Coming in 2023, we'll actually be increasing some of our.
Oh yeah.
We have a lot of plans going off.
Ton
We'll
of
be
plans.
doing actually 2 videos a week going forward, starting sometime in January.
That second video will be very different. So we're gonna always have the podcast here on Monday,
Mm-hmm.
and it will be similar topics, all that good stuff. But the second video on Thursdays or Fridays we'll upload will be more of a video essay, kind of 9-10 minute video of something informative, something cool, where we'll have a script going that'll be interesting, and we'll see how we're gonna do that, and we hope it's gonna be fun for us. We hope that you guys like it.
Yeah, so it'd be like a short deep dive into something that we're interested in.
Yeah, just a random topic.
And then also we'll have our Patreon up by then as well. So if you want to support us, you can go use that. And
Expect us in what, a month or so?
something like that.
Something about a month. So 3-4 videos from now.
One of the big things I'm actually excited for the Patreon. It'll be a Patreon exclusive. Will be a monthly book club.
Oh yeah.
So
We'll talk
we
about
can,
that, yeah.
as a group, we can read a book together, and then we'll get on to kind of a Discord video call, and we can actually discuss a book for the month and go over kind of all the different aspects of it. So it'll be a lot of fun for me, especially.
And another fun thing, I think we'll have watch parties with Patreons as well. We're gonna have that. Obviously, we'll have voting for new video topics. A lot. We're still thinking of stuff. If you have any suggestions as well, please comment it below. Because we're looking for suggestions. We're developing this. We've been thinking about it a lot too. So that'll come in the next month. And hopefully we don't let you guys wait as long as James Cameron let you all wait for Avatar.
Hopefully.
Did you see that? I just pulled that all together. That just top of the mind. That's the whiskey talking. That's the sickness talking. And
You need to have whiskey every time.
I'm ashamed. I didn't even finish it. What a loser I am.
I had to really portion mine.
Oh my god, it's gone. I just noticed.
I had to be careful with mine. I was like, I can't get up and go refill it. That would be inappropriate for the video.
I don't know if we get demonetized for this, but it's okay. We only make like a couple bucks anyways off these.
At this point, monetization is not a factor. It's just views. Like, just watch it. That'd be nice.
That would be nice, right? All right, everybody. That was our review of Avatar 2: The Way of Water. Hope you all enjoyed.
And we'll see you guys next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye.